Shavua Tov, everyone. Please have a seat. We had, Baruch Hashem, a great Shabbaton here in Phoenix, Arizona, as usual. And now we have the last lecture for this Shabbaton. And usually when I have a mixed crowd, it's always a dilemma where to start. For some people already very orthodox, some people still have doubts in Emunah. So I have to start a little bit low and then go a little bit higher. But before I do it, I just want to ask a question. Please try not to move the camera. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I want to ask a question, but please don't be shy and don't be embarrassed. Is anybody here that have a doubt if the Torah is the book of God? Even 1% doubt. Please raise your hand. Don't be embarrassed. We need to know. I need to know who I'm speaking to. Over there, one person. Everybody else has no doubt. I need to know. It's better you tell me the truth than I'm gonna speak in high level and it won't apply to you. What do you say? Everyone has a little doubt? Okay. Who can tell me, how can you prove that the book is a divine book? What would convince you? If I give you a book and I tell you read it, this is the book of God. How would you know 1,000,000% that it's really the book of God? How would you know?
Because no mistakes there.
If there's no mistakes, it can still be a genius person that wrote a book with no mistakes. And how would you know for sure? No mistakes is very, very impressive. The sound is not good. It's echo. It's not good. If there is a book with no mistakes, that's a very high chance that it's divine, but you cannot swear on it. Maybe a person was extra brilliant, was able to write a book with no mistakes. But how do you know 1,000,000% this book is the book of God? How do you know? When you find inside the book divine information. That's why I call my website Divine Information. Why? Because most of the lecture are around the same topic, proving that the Torah is divine. When you have divine information in a book, then you know that a person was unable to write this book. Make sense or no? Yeah. Now you ask me, what does it mean, divine information? To believe in God, everyone can write it. Christians also speak about it and their book is false. To pray to God, that's not a proof. To see the beautiful creation, that's nice, but I'm talking a solid proof. The answer is, I'm reviewing knowledge in the Torah and I see that the writer of the Torah had information that only the creator of the world was able to know. From that moment on, I have no more doubts. Why? I couldn't write it. Albert Einstein couldn't write it. All the scientists in history combined couldn't write it. That's one way to prove that the book is divine. There's another way. The book is full of prophecies. You do not find any book in a history that have prophecies besides the Jewish Tanakh, which is a combination of 24 books. The 5 books of Moses, which Bereshit, Shmot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, Dvarim, and then Joshua and all the other books, the prophets, altogether 24 books. We are not talking tonight about the Tanakh. We're only talking about the Torah. The 5 books of the Torah, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, 5 books. Everybody in the world knows this book, even the Goyim. This is 5 books that were given to the Jewish nation by the creator of the world. How do I know? Let's give you a few examples of what we're talking here about. When we review the Torah, we find that the Torah was given to the Jewish nation in front of millions of witnesses. Millions of witnesses. And it says in the Torah that the entire nation of Israel heard the voice of God. It says in the Torah that Moshe said to the nation of Israel, all of you heard the voice of God speaking to you from the fire around this mountain. Why it's such an important pasuk? It's a very important verse in the Torah. Because let me explain to you what I mean. If I came here tonight and I'm trying to pretend that I'm a prophet of God, because I want to fool all of you, why a person would try to pretend he's a prophet? He wants to be a leader. He wants to control. He thinks he's the smartest. He wants to be memorized in history as a legend. And the most important thing, he wants honor and money. When I'm going to be the leader, I'm going to make a rule that everyone has to give me a charity. Since everyone will give me 10% from their income, I'll be a billionaire like Gaddafi. Gaddafi didn't ask, he just took. Same thing all the other dictators, they just take. But in the Torah, it's a rule. Everyone has to give charity. And everyone will remember me as the most important person in history, because I'm the one who brought this religion to the people. However, it's a very risky business, because one tiny mistake, and people will stone me to death, because they'll catch that I'm a crook. It's very difficult to pretend that you're the messenger of God in front of millions of people and give them such a long book without making mistakes. Mistake number one would be, I write the story of the Exodus of Egypt. I write in the book, remember everything I tell you it's in the Torah. If you're not sure, tell me where it is, I'll show you where it is. I write in a book, I am the God that took you out of Egypt and released you from slavery. If one of you were not in Egypt, what would you tell me? Excuse me, sir, you are dreaming. We have never been in Egypt. We were never slaves. What slaves? You just gave us a book. You claim God gave you this book to give us, right? We're reading now in a book. All of us were slaves in Egypt for many years. And we read here that there was all over Egypt, there was blood and frogs, and every firstborn died, and God split the ocean for us. We went through, and the Egyptian drowned. We read all these stories, it sounds like a Hollywood movie. But we have nothing to do with the story. We are in this book as the main actors of the story. You are telling us what happened to us in the last year? We know better than you. You're coming to, remember, no other religion, there's 80,000 religions and cults in the world that came after Judaism. None of them approached the people that received the book and told them this and this happened to you. Why? Because the faker who brought the fake religion knows that these people have nothing to do with this book. He's not going to come and tell them, I did this miracle for you, because he never did anything for them. All he wants is to tell them a story that God sent him, that's it. But he can never use them as an integral part of the story, because they have nothing to do with the story. He doesn't want to take any risks. People know what happened to them, no? What chance do I have to come to 100 people and tell them, I am the messenger of God, God gave me this book, here, this book is for you. So now he gets up, he reads, he says, wow, it says here that we all just came out of Iran. We were in prison in Iran, they used to torture us, then a lightning came, all the Iranian guards got burned, and a plane just landed from the space, and right away some robots came out, and they picked us all out, and then they took us here in less than a minute. We came from Iran to Phoenix, Arizona in less than a minute. Now I tell you this whole story now. Then people would say, this guy needs a mental institution right away. They're inviting him to Phoenix. Send him to a hospital. It's not normal. Right away, you'll kill me right away. And I'm not exaggerating. You will kill me. Why you will kill me? Sometimes a person comes and he's crazy. You feel bad for him. You're not going to kill him. So, poor guy, he's hallucinating. What can you do? But me, you'll kill. Why you'll kill me? Because I'm not hallucinating. I came to ruin your life. Why I came to ruin your life? Because a part of my Torah is that many of you have to get divorced right now. Because I made a law in the Torah that you're not allowed to be married to your aunt. and many thousands of the Jewish nation were married to their aunts because it was perfectly fine. Same thing, cousins are married all over the world, in the Jewish world, in the Goyish world. Cousins marry all the time, even now, as we speak. So what's the difference, cousins or aunts? If my father is 40 and I'm 21, and my father has a young sister that she's 18, and we grew up in the same tribe in a desert somewhere. We grew up, and I like her and she likes me, and we want to get married. Why not? People, thousands were married to their aunts. All of a sudden, Mr. Moshe comes with the Torah. Erva dodatcha lo tegale dodatcha hi. You cannot touch your aunt's hands like this. Even your aunts cannot kiss her. Not allowed to touch her. She's out of your territory. What do you mean you cannot touch her? She's my wife. I have 10 children with her. I'm sorry. That's what God told me. Now, you would love me or you would hate me right away when I brought you such a law? If I'm a faker, would I put such a law inside my book to make you hate me? Or I'm going to put laws that you're all going to like me? What's my incentive? To give you a hard book or to give you a very difficult book? But it gets much better. Next problem that you read, that you have to throw all the meat that you prepare because none of it is kosher. So you have 5,000 cows. You prepare, you know how much it costs, 5,000 cows? You just prepare meat for Chag Shavuot, for Shavuot's holiday. And you just found out that you prepared it wrong because you didn't use the right knife. And you didn't check the animals to be glad kosher. That's why you have to throw all the meat to the garbage. That's why we eat dairy and Shavuot for 3,320 years. Why we eat dairy every holiday in Shavuot? Because there was no time to prepare new meat. Go and bring new cows, slaughter them, take the skin off, put salt, get rid of the blood, cut it to pieces. It's a 2-day process. There's no time. The holiday is in 1 hour. So they went and took milk and they prepared dairy for the Yom Tov, for the holidays. So now this is a reason for you to love me or to hate me even more. But it doesn't matter. There's only one thing you have to remember. When you open the book, I claim that all of you heard me and God speaking. All of you. All it needs that one of you would rise from 3 million Jews standing there. One. Don't need two. One. He gets up and he says, I'm very sorry. I'm also here for hours with everyone. And I didn't hear you and God speaking. It says here in the book, all of us heard the voice of God. All of us. All means all. The Torah doesn't make mistake. It's a divine book. I'm here and I didn't hear the voice of God. Anybody else heard the voice of God? Another 10, 20 people would raise their hand. I'm sorry, Moshe. We didn't hear the voice of God. Get lost. That would be the end of it. They'll kill him. Nobody would know Moshe even lived ever. Nobody would know about it. They'll kill him right away. What, you came to destroy us? To take our money? To make us get divorced? To make us observe the Sabbath? To close the business? This is not allowed. This is not allowed. What did you try to do to us? Since we caught you as a lie, we're going to kill you now. Or we kick you out of our nation. One of the two. The fact that millions of people agree right away to become religious, what does it teach us? All 3 million people were all foolish? All of them stupid? They read in the Torah that they heard the voice of God and they know they never heard the voice of God. And they still believe that this is the book of God? If we find one mistake in a book, we know right away it's not from God. Imagine I gave you this book and it said that the Twin Towers collapsed in Brooklyn. You say, excuse me, sir, there's a mistake in the book. It was in Manhattan. I say, I'm very sorry. God gave me this book and it says that it happened in Brooklyn. And now all of you have to follow the laws. Would you agree to follow the laws? This guy is not. God didn't give that stupid book. So that's an example how the New Testament is nonsense. Why? In the New Testament it says that the cave of Abraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov is in the city of Shechem, Nablus. And everyone knows it's in Hebron. What happened to God? He doesn't remember where Abraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov is buried? It says in the New Testament that it's in the city of Shechem. Big mistake. In the Quran there's another mistake. It says that Haman and Paro had a meeting. But Haman was born about 900 years after the last Paro died. So they could never meet. But the one who wrote the Quran made mistakes in the dates. He didn't know to compare the dates between Megillat Esther and the Torah. So he made a meeting between Haman and Paro. Maybe they met in hell, but over here they didn't meet. So you got the point. This is how it takes a minute to prove that the book is not divine. To prove that it's divine may take a few hours. But if you're clever, it takes 10 minutes. And now listen to the next 10 minutes. I'm going to prove to you. When the Torah was given, it was given written in oral Torah. Ele HaTorot, those are the Torahs that I put in the hand of Moshe and Mount Sinai. Torahs, not Torah. Inside, we read 613 laws. Many of them do not apply anymore because we don't have Bet HaMikdash, the temple. We don't have the temple in Jerusalem. But we cannot understand one of the mitzvot, one of the commandments without the oral law. Because the oral Torah explains how to do the mitzvot. Now, in the oral Torah, some people say, I believe in a written Torah, but I'm not so sure about the oral Torah. So I'm going to give all the proofs from the oral Torah, Torah Shebe'al Peh. It says in the oral Torah, the number of the stars in universe. Everybody that knows a little science know that until 400 years ago, until Galileo Galilei, everyone in the world, all the scientists, all the people in the world were sure that there's only maximum 8,000 stars in universe. Why? There is no NASA, there is no telescope, no satellites, none of the things that we have today. We're talking 400 years ago. People were standing on the mountains and counting manually the number of the stars. So they got between 6,000 to 8,000 stars. That's what people thought. Nobody knew there's billions of stars. There was no way to know. But when we read in the Torah, in Masechet Brachot, page 32, in the oral Torah, this is what it says. The nation of Israel complained to God after the destruction of the second temple. And they say, a person divorced his wife and get remarried, and he never forget that he used to be married once before. And you, God, completely forgot about us and neglected us. The Gemara say, this is what God answered. Biti, my daughter, 12 sections I created in heaven. And in each section I created 30 armies. And in each army, thank you, I created 30 legion. Thanks. And in each legion I created 30 raton. And in each raton I created 30 karaton. And in each karaton I created 30 gisteras. And in each gistera I hung 365,000 multiplied by 10,000 stars. And all of that I created for you. Who is for you? The nation of Israel. And you have the nerve to tell me that I forgot about you and neglected you? That's the story in the Gemara. You can bring a Gemara if you don't believe me. I'll open it to you. Page 32, page Lamed Bet, Masechet Brachot. The Gemara was written approximately 2,000 years ago. But the knowledge of the Gemara was given to Moshe Rabbeinu 3,300 years ago in Mount Sinai. Make no mistake. All the information I give you, it's at least 3,300 years old. 2,900 years before Galileo Galilei. Now, let's do the calculation. 12 sections I created in heaven, so we have 12. In each one, 30 legions, so 12 times 30. 12 armies, so times 30. 30 armies, 30 legions, so times 30, times 30, times 30, times 30, times 30, 5 times 30, 365,000, multiplied by 10,000, so it's 3 more 0. It gives us 1 and 18 digits. 1 and 18 digits after, so 19 digits number, whatever you call it in English, doesn't matter. But it's a very long number, all the way from here to the shul. That's how long the number is. The question is, who could dream 3,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago? Who could have dreamed that the world have such a number of stars when maximum you can see 6,000 to 8,000 stars? Who would write such a number? And believe it or not, when you do the calculation, it comes to what NASA says more or less. NASA is very close to the number of the Torah. Why? No one has a perfect ability to count all the stars of all the galaxy. It's impossible. because the satellites take pictures of the galaxies, and the mega computer size of a building, it's counting the dots. But every time they do it, it's give a different number. But it doesn't matter what they say. The question is, who could have written in a Torah there are so many stars when there is no way to even dream about such a number? Then the next proof is the renewal of the moon. In Judaism, the moon is a very important factor. You cannot ignore the moon, because Rosh Chodesh, it goes by the moon. The Jewish holidays, it's by the renewal of the moon. In the old days, there was no calendar. Today we have a Jewish calendar, so we know in advance the dates and the holidays, but there was no calendar. How did we know when the holiday is going to be? How we know Pesach, when Pesach is going to be, the 14th day of Nisan, preparation for Pesach? How do we know? Two witnesses have to come to the Jewish court and tell the rabbis, we just saw now the renewal of the moon. What does it mean, the renewal of the moon? The moon has a cycle that takes a month. There is a second that the moon disappeared, and a minute later it begins to grow again. That second, it's the new cycle of the moon. Of course, the moon is always the same size. I'm talking what we see from here, from Earth, about the moon. So on the 15th of the month, the moon is always full. From 1st to the 15th, it's growing. From the 15th to the end, it's decreasing. That's how it goes every month. The Gemara said that Rabban Gamliel was sitting in a Jewish court. And many witnesses came to him and said, Rabbi, we just saw the renewal of the moon. Now the rabbi is sitting inside the building, and they all came from the mountains. The rabbi told them, it cannot be. We know from Moshe Rabbeinu, from Mount Sinai, it's been transferred from generation to generation, that the renewal of the moon can never be less than 29 days and a half and 2/3 of the hour and 73 parts of the minute, which gives us in math 29 and a half. 29 days, everybody knows. Half, it's 12 hours. 2/3 of the hour, it's 40 minutes. 73 parts of a minute, it's about 3 seconds each part. It's about another 2 minutes and something. So it gives us 29 days, 12 hours, 42 minutes and few seconds. That's the minimal cycle of the moon. Will never ever be less than that. Never. What's the calculation? According to the Torah, 29.530590. 6 digits after the decimal point. 29.530590. That's according to the Torah, the renewal of the moon in a history will never be shorter cycle than this number. Never. NASA, they're not religious, they're not Jewish. They wanted to know all the cycles of the moon, what's the minimal cycle. So they invested billions of dollars, many years of research, so many employees, and in the end NASA published that the minimal cycle of the moon, 29.530588. What's the difference? 2/10,000 of a second between NASA to the Torah. Take a second, break it to 10,000 pieces, take 2 of them out. Take 1 second, break it to 10,000 pieces. You know how small is each piece? Take 2 of them out. That's the difference in a period of 1 month. The difference between the Torah and NASA is that snap of a second. But the Germans are usually more yekes, they're more precise. In 1965 in Berlin, usually if I had a projector, all I had to do just show you, but you don't have to believe me, we'll give you Torah and Science DVDs. Over there you see it on a screen with the source, everything. You can go to my website, click Torah and Science, you have all the sources there. Any doubt you have the sources in a professional film. So it says in 1965 in Berlin, the Germans updated the number to 29.530589. 1/10,000 of a second different. And about 5 years ago, one scientist came to me in a dream. I'm already dreaming after the Shabbatot. He came to me in a lecture, and he said to me, I have news for you. It's already been updated to the number you say. I never found the source. I Googled, I checked, I never found his source. I hope that he knows what he's talking about. It really doesn't matter. The question that I have to all these skeptical people here that have some doubts in the Torah, do you know 3,300 years ago, a person that was able to write in the moon all the cycle, thousands of different cycles of the moon, never will be less than this number, 29.530590. And today we find that he was right 1,000,000%. If this is not God, who was it? You tell me, no? I want to hear. Tell me if a person was able to write such a thing and 3,300 years later, apparently he was always right. Always right. They, with NASA, the satellites and all the measurements, they know how to do it. But I'm talking in a very primitive generation. We didn't even have a watch. We didn't have a calculator. When I was a kid, my calculator that I had, everything I was trying to do is show E. 29,000 something, already E, error. We cannot, its brain is very small. you know, in Israel, well, let's do the joke in America. They make jokes in Polish that their brain doesn't function. The goyim, you know. So one Polish guy came to Japan, and he saw fish in the aquarium, and he saw a Japanese guy is hypnotizing the fish. And he goes like this, so the fish goes to the right. He goes left, the fish goes to the left. So the Polish guy said to him, what are you doing? He said, the fish have such a small brain. If you catch it, that's it. Whatever you do, he's going to do. So the Polish say, can I try? He said, yeah, I'm going to the bathroom, I'll be back. I'll be right back. For 2 minutes he came back, he see the Polish guy goes like this. The fish hypnotized him. Anyway. All right, so I'll give you another example. Another example. The Gemara speaks about Yaakov and Esav. That's today's parasha, last week parasha. This is the last 2 parashot. Yaakov said to Hashem, dear God, don't let my brother Esav succeed in his plan. The Gemara say, the oral Torah, what is this Yaakov saying to God? The Gemara say, he begged God not to let Esav succeed. Why? Because Esav is Germany of Edom. That if he is going to go out to the world, he will make a revolution in the entire world. The Gemara continue, Amar Rabbi Chama bar Chanina, 300 tribes, Rabbi Chama, one of the Tanaim in the Gemara, 300 tribes are in Germany of Edom. That's the Gemara in Masechet Megillah, page 6. Now, until 200 years ago, there was no Germany. No Germany. There was barbarian tribes. Silesia, Westphalia, Bavaria, different tribes. Each tribe has like his own independence. One day, a person named Bismarck, he decided to make all of them into one nation. So he gathered all the 300 tribes and he made them the German Republic, which later became Germany. So Germany is less than 200 years old. This was written in a Talmud 2,000 years ago, when there was no Germany. Nobody knew where Esav is. The Gemara say, the children of Esav will be one day Germany, and there will be 300 tribes. If you go to the encyclopedia, I check in the Hebrew encyclopedia. You can go to any encyclopedia you want. You put Germany, this is what comes out. Germany was made from 300 tribes, the barbarian tribes, by Bismarck and this year, that year, and they had finance challenges. They wanted to keep their independence. They talk about how it started, Germany. The question is, how did the Gemara know that one day there will be a nation called Germany, and they will be made from 300 tribes? And they are the children of Esav. How could they know it? The answer is, it's divine information. Nobody could have known such thing. If it says 299, it will be already a mistake in the Torah. Then I would have to say, well, I don't know what happened. It was 2,000 years ago. None of you would be convinced. If it says in the Talmud 299, and it will be 300, you say, okay, we're done with your lecture. Let's go to the pizza. Well, here, mistakes. Because we want to catch the Torah in mistake. Even me, for many years, I was hoping to find mistakes in the Torah. You know how many years I was hoping, no, when will I find this mistake that I can get rid of all this, do this, do not do that? And then I say, well, I'm sorry, God, forgive my chutzpah, but that's it, I surrender. Thousands of times, everything is 1,000,000% precise. That's it. Up to now, it was the investigation. From now on, it's time to wake up. Now let me give you more examples. The Torah have hidden mathematical codes in it. Codes. Let me explain to you what a code is. Let's say I want to send one of you to be a spy in Uzbekistan. You know the language, and you're going to grow a nice mustache, and I'm going to wear you dressed like a Muslim, and I put you over there. The Mossad will smuggle you in, and now you have to write to me every day. You have to write to me letters or emails, whatever you want. What's happening in the army over there? So let's say you are in a military base. You have to write to me reports. If you write regular reports and they catch you, you know, I don't have to tell you what's going to happen to you. So you have to write it in a way that even if they catch the letter, they won't know that it's spying here. They won't know. So we agree that you're going to write to me total baloney story. I woke up in the morning, my head hurts, my wife made me coffee, the coffee was horrible, I went downstairs, we didn't have sugar. Well, what does it have to do with the army now? Nothing. But you and I know that every 50th letter in a story counts. All the rest is nonsense. So when I get the letter, they read the letter, they don't see anything suspicious. When I get the letter, I take my pen, I circle the first letter, I count 50 letters, I circle the 50th letter. I count 50 letters, the letter 100, I circle 150, 200, 250, etc. And then I get rid of all the other letters. I put all the letters together. Now I have a whole story. The base is 5 miles wide. It has such and such bombs, 15 airplanes, this, that, everything I know now. In one letter I know everything. That's called equal mathematical skip. Hidden codes. So I can only tell you what's in a military base up to now. Can I write in the letter what's going to be there in 10 years from now? There's no way for me to know the future. The beautiful side in the Torah is not that the Torah may have inside thousands of words and sentences in equal mathematical skip. All those codes are talking about our days. They were written 3,300 years ago by the speaking about Menachem Begin, George Bush, Saddam Hussein, Ahmadinejad. All of them are hidden in the Torah in equal mathematical skip. The entire story of the Holocaust is hidden in the Torah with the words of all the Nazis and what happened in Germany, 100% in equal mathematical skip. But the best part is, not only it appears in the Torah, it appears in the Torah in chapters that are similar to the story. For instance, when God wanted to tell us about a Holocaust that will happen to us one day, and He wanted to plant it in His Torah, what's going to happen 3,200 years later, He didn't just put it anywhere in the Torah. He put it in a page in the Torah that speak about God saying to Moshe, one day you'll be dead, you'll go already with your fathers to the afterworld, and this nation will rebel against me, and they will be like the Goyim, and they will leave my Torah, and at that day I'm going to be so angry at them, I will send the Goyim to destroy them. In this page, you have the word Ashoah, the Holocaust, in equal mathematical skip. You have in this chapter Adolf Hitler, in equal mathematical skip. Adolf Eichmann, Rudolf Hess, Ghetto, Zyklon Bet, Bet B, Bet. All the names that connected to the Holocaust are all in a chapter that accidentally speaking about Holocaust. I give you another example. In Parashat Noach, God wants to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. We're speaking about Lot, that have guests, and the people of Sodom they want to rape the guest. Men want to rape men. That's the story in the Torah. So Lot is offering his daughters. Say, take my daughters, don't touch my guest. They say, we're not interested in your daughters, we want the guest. He said, okay, take me, leave my guest, take me. They said, we don't want you, we want the guest. They didn't know the guests are angels. They thought it's people because they look like people. So then they blinded them with mirrors, and they couldn't see. And they took Lot and his family out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Millions of people got burned from fire that God burned all of them. All the gays got burned in 1 minute. All of them. This is a story that appears in the Torah. In this page, the word AIDS that was founded in 1981, first time they found a case of AIDS, and Professor Rubinstein, which is a personal friend of mine, he named the disease. He named it. He's the head of Einstein Hospital in Bronx, in New York. He named it HIV/AIDS because he's a very big doctor in blood sicknesses. And that's what made him religious. He saw how the AIDS behave, and he said it cannot be nature, because all the other viruses, when you attack them, you have A, you inject minus A, the minus A fight with the A. One will win in the end, but that's it. But AIDS has a natural mutation. When you attack him, he changes shape right away to a different thing. You attack him with a new thing, he changes again, and he knows how to hide. It's like a person. He has a whole strategic war. He's fooling constantly the medication, it's impossible. It's amazing how he does. So, wow. Right away, as a scientist, I knew this is the hand of the creator of the world. It cannot be nature, because in nature everything works in a pattern. No matter how much you make a mess, in the end they're always going to go in the right order. But over here, it's a virus that knows how to think like a person. And that's what started to make him think about God. What happened to all the other scientists? They see it and go back to their life. They're not investigating too far because they're not interested to become religious. So they don't want to ask questions because they're afraid of the answers. They want to live in a life for the rest of their life, like most people are. But he was clever. He started to investigate, and today is an Orthodox Jew living in Monsey. So, if somebody asks you, show me codes in the Torah. You don't have computer now. Show me codes in the Torah. You open the Torah, the first word in the Torah, Bereshit. Bereshit bara Elokim ta shamayim v'et haaretz. You take the taf of the word Bereshit, you circle it. Take a pencil, Bereshit, finish with taf. Make a circle around the taf. Count 49 letters. The next 49 letters you count. The 50th letter will be Vav. Circle it. Count 49 letters. The 50th letters will be Resh. Circle it. Count 49 letters. The 50th letters will be Hey. Right in the first sentence of the Torah, God planted the word Torah in equal mathematical skip of 49. Why 49? Because 7 is a holy number. 7 is a special number in the entire Torah and in Judaism, in the world, in everywhere you go. 7 is the most important number. So 7 times 7 is 49. Same thing, every 6 years, the 7th year is Shnat Shemitah, special Shabbat for the land. Then Shnat Yovel, it's in the 50th year. 7 times 7, 49 years, 7 periods of Shemitah. Comes the 50th year, they blow the shofar. It's very interesting how it all goes with 7. All the words in the Torah appears in the Torah in groups of 7. Like if you talk about Avraham Avinu, how many times Avraham appears in the Torah? 14 times, 21 times, 28 times, 35 times. Avimelech, same thing. I have a whole lecture about the secret of number 7. If you watch it, you understand the Torah is divine. It's not just a book. It's a divine book. But let's focus right now on the codes. So you have Bereshit, you count, you get 49, with 49 letters skip, you get the word Torah. You say, coincidence, accident, beautiful. Let's go to Sefer Shmot, the Exodus. Ve'ele Shmot Bnei Israel, that's how it starts. You take the taf of the Exodus, you circle it. Ve'ele Shmot, the word Shmot finish with taf. You make a circle around the taf, count 49 letters, you get Vav. 49 letters Resh, 49 letters Hey. Again Torah. An equal skip. Now it's already hard to say coincidence. But let's say you are very stubborn. So let's move to the book Leviticus. Vayikra. Over there, you don't find the word Torah. You found the name of Hashem in equal skip of 7. Yud, Hey, Vav, and Hey. Very interesting. Then you go to Bamidbar, which is Numbers. You find the word Torah in equal skip of 49, but this time from left to right. In reverse, 49. Then you go to Deuteronomy, Sefer Dvarim. Again the word Torah in equal skip of 49 from left to right. So what do we have? We have a menorah with 5 candles. The middle of the menorah, it's the center of the world, is God. Yud, Hey, Vav, and Hey in equal skip of 7. And then you have 2 candles from the right. They go from right to left. Torah in equal skip of 7 times 7, 49. And then from left to right, Torah. And this is the secret of this entire world. Some investigators, they call in Hebrew Chokrei HaMikra. If it was up to me, I would put all of them in a toilet and flush 100 times. That they won't waste our time anymore, these fools. They try to fool the people by saying that the Torah have more than one rider. 3 or 4 different riders. Why? Because they see that the Torah have different style of riding. Up to a certain point of Torah, there's one style. Then from here, the style is a little bit different. And from here, the style is a little bit different. What kind of a proof is that? I write in different styles, depend who I talk to. If I talk about proofs, I speak in a different style. If I speak about Musar, I speak in a different style. If I speak to Ashkenazim, I speak in one style. I speak to Bukharian, I speak in a different style. That makes me more than one person. So just because the Torah have different style, it's not an indication there's more than one rider. But what I just said is a proof that the rider of the Torah is only one. Because if there was more than one, how the other one knew where to continue the codes from? We didn't know anything about the codes until they invented computers 20 years ago. Nobody was able to find codes in the Torah. It will take you 1,000,000 years to find one code. You don't know what to look for. Only when the computer searched the entire Torah 1,000,000 times in a second, the computer find what will take us 7 years to find. One word. If I wanted to find one word, you know how many counting I have to do? 7 years of counting to find one word. The computer does it in a second. So how did they know 3,300 years ago to continue the Torah where the other writer finished and all the thousands of codes are continuing in the same skip? How did they know? Impossible. No way. That just show you that the writer of the Torah is only one writer. Plus, if the Torah was written in installments, how the people of Israel agreed to accept it? Because remember, the Torah, when they got the Torah tells them 49 days ago you came out of Egypt. If the Torah was written 300 years before that event, no one would agree to accept it. There will be the first mistake in the Torah. Because how do you know? I'm getting a book, and the book tells me 49 days ago I took you out of Egypt. 7 weeks ago. There was no time for few writers to write such a long story of 1,000 years of history. No time. Because this book is describing everything who happened in the last 200 years in Egypt, up to now. And obviously, if there was many people who write it, who exactly gave them the book? How they agree to follow a book that they know that there's mistakes in it? Let me give you another example. We have the Zohar, the Kabbalah. A part of Judaism, it's the mystical part, it's the secret. It's called Kabbalah. In the Zohar, in one page, we have 6 discoveries about the world. First, the Zohar say, Kol Yeshuva mitgalgela beigula kekadur. The world is turning around like a ball. When did the argument about the shape of the earth ended? Who knows? Everyone argues if the earth is flat, or if it's round, or it has different shapes. Nobody really knew how earth looks. When did the argument stop? Eventually, after all the arguments, everyone agreed that the world is round. Do you know when? Columbus, very good. In the generation of Christopher Columbus, 500 years ago. 500 years ago. The Zohar was written 2,000 years ago, but it was published about 700 years ago by De Leon, Rabbi De Leon. So it's still 200 years before Columbus, but it was written 1500 years before him. But it was accepted in Mount Sinai 3,300 years ago as a part of the Torah. So either way, it was before all the scientists. The Zohar say the world is round. Not only static ball, it's turning around in the air. And nothing is holding it. There's no base, no foundation. It's standing in earth, in space. And when it's day in one side of the ball, it's night to the other side of the ball. And there are people standing in the bottom of the ball, the Zohar say. How are they standing? They're supposed to fall to space. Here, this is a ball. Look, Mishamayim, this balloon arrived here. Oh, Hashem. So now this is the earth. Now, if somebody is living in the bottom of the earth, let's pretend that this rubber band is a human being. If I take the toys of the kids and I put it in the bottom of the ball, what would happen? It would fall all the way down to space, no? Now, that's only one person. What happens if I take the Empire State Building and put it in the bottom of the ball? The entire Empire State Building will fall to the space. Now we are in Phoenix, Arizona. We are in one side of the ball. We have to check which country and city is in the other side of the earth. You know, they have a way to know. If you take a needle, a long needle, and you punch it all the way in the earth, it would come out in another country. Every country has an opposite country. Now, let's say that we are in the bottom of the earth right now, because it's constantly moving. So we are actually upside down. This whole building, we are all upside down. You're sitting on a chair, but imagine now if there was a telescope that was looking into the earth, it would see the entire audience here sitting upside down. Their chairs is on the ceiling, and the head is down, and the speaker is also upside down. He's standing in the ceiling, and his head down, and he's not falling on his head. He's staying. That's exactly how it is. So what did the Zohar want to tell us? There are people in the bottom of the ball. Gravity. He knew about gravity. How did he know? This is all divine information. No one was able to know that there are people and their houses is in the bottom of the ball. If they are in the bottom of the ball, they're supposed to fall because the Zohar tell you that it's all standing in space. Prophet Yeshaya, 2,600 years ago, he says, "Ayoshev al chug haaretz veyoshvea kechagavim." That was 2,600 years ago. The prophet say, God is above the round earth. Chug in Hebrew means something that was circled. Chug, mechoga. You know mechoga? You make a circles in geometry. That's what it means, chug. Chug means something who moves in a circle. He's making circles. So the prophet is speaking about earth. He say God is above earth. And he's looking at us. We look like cockroaches. That's what we look on the big earth. And the earth is turning in a circle. This is the prophet 2,600, way before Columbus. But I never heard about him. I just gave you 6 or 7 proofs. Trust me that I have 6,000 in my computer. Like this. So every normal person doesn't need more than 2 or 3 proofs. But if you still have doubts, just go into my field, watch 4 hours of proofs. Still not enough, go to Torah and Science Part 2. If it's still not enough, start watching all the 1,000 lectures over there. Eventually you know the Torah is divine. Up to now, there's anyone here who's still not convinced that the Torah is meant from the creator of the world? Do you think somebody was able to write it, a human being? So now here comes the punchline. After we prove in half an hour that the Torah is divine, right there it says that every Jew must keep Shabbat, have to put tefillin, have to eat kosher, have to be an honest person, have to get married and have children, have to be a lover of God, have to appreciate what He does for us, and many, many things that we have to do. If I see that this is a divine book, is it clever to ignore it, or it's very foolish to ignore it? What do you think? Person has a book on the shelf on his house, and it says over there, this is what it says in the Torah. And the nation of Israel observed the Sabbath. Why Hashem chose the 7th day to be Shabbat? Why not the 10th day? Why not the 5th day? Why from all the days in the creation, he waited 6 days, and in the 7th day he decided to rest? He could have done it in a different way. The interesting thing is, one Arab became a Jew without proofs. Just because he saw that the Torah is speaking about a cycle of 7, and he saw that everywhere, all over the world, everyone's calendar go by weeks of 7 days. And he said it has to be that it's according to the Torah. Because 7, it's not an equal number. If you have 365 days in a year divided by 7, it leaves you some leftover. If you want a month to be divided to 7, it leaves you 2 days leftover. It's not a comfortable number to work with. But God insisted that Shabbat, the 7th day, is a very special day. Why? The secret is, everything material has 6 dimensions. Here, look. Here is a material in my hand. You have up and down. You have south, north, east, and west. Up and down, 6 dimensions. Everything. A chair, up and down, sides. Everything you have, everything you bring has 4 directions. Up and down. Material. 7 symbolize going out of the world of material into a world of spirituality, which means a world of eternity. Only where material exists, time exists. When there is no material, there's no more time. We can only measure our time in this world. If you go to space, you lose the essence of time. That's it, you cannot measure what you have over here. You know that by looking from here at the sky looks blue. But if you go very, very high into space, it's all become black. There's no more blue. And you lose the essence of time. If we were supposed to survive, let's say we have a special outfit, and we don't need to eat. We could live without food, bathroom, and all this. If we go to space, once there is no more gravity, we will stay in space for eternity. Forever and ever. We fly in space forever, and there's not going to be an end. If you send someone like this to space, he will fly in space forever, but he will be dead. After a few days without food, he'll be dead. You know, when they go out of the gravity, out of the atmosphere, there's no more gravity like here. So the astronauts of NASA, they're having a lot of training before they go out of Earth. Let me give you an example. When they decide to do lunch, they want to eat now. Did you ever see the astronauts how they eat? They all sit and they tie themselves to the floor of the spaceship, because otherwise they fly to the ceiling. They have to, hey, come down, like the balloon. You bang on his head so he comes down, but then he flies back up again, because there's no gravity. So now if he wants to give a piece of bread to his friend, let's say I want to feed him now. I don't have to go and give it to him, open your mouth. I put the bread, I leave it, and I give it a punch. When it flies all the way, I open up his mouth and he goes in. Everything is beautiful. Now let's say I want to go to my bedroom to bring something. It's like being in the water. I lay down like this. I kick the side of the spaceship and I fly all the way to the kitchen over there. That's how it is. You don't have to walk. There's only one problem. What happens when they go to the bathroom? It doesn't go down. It starts flying all over the room. But NASA thought about it. Luckily, NASA thought about it. So they put a real good pump. That as soon as they decide to sit in the bathroom, first of all, they tie themselves to the bathroom, and they won't fly to the end. And then, right away, it sucks everything. And like this, they're able to go to the bathroom. But that's very interesting. But here is the only place that people can live. All the stars, the temperature, either it's hundreds of degrees above zero or hundreds of degrees below zero. Which means you can freeze in a second, you can burn in a second. There's no possibility to live there. Only here in Earth, it's the only place that a person can live normal life with normal weather. It's very interesting. You know, I just told you space, it's endless. The world has 72% of water. 72% of water. You look at the ocean, it's endless, so much water, billions of liters of water. It's never going to end. Imagine now, I take a one coin of a dime, very small coin, and I put it in the bottom of the ocean. Somewhere in the bottom of the ocean. And now I say to you, I'll give you $1 billion cash. I don't have, but don't worry, I won't have to give it to you. I say, I'll give you $1 billion cash. If you go anywhere you want in the ocean, you take another dime, you throw it, and the dime has to fall on the other dime that is in the bottom of the ocean, exactly, and land on it. What's the chance something like this will happen? Zero, right? You agree that it's zero? This is exactly what happened with the creation of Earth. Don't let the scientists ever fool you, ever. Don't let them fool you with their nonsense. Just think common sense. Space is endless. The Earth is in a place in a galaxy that called the Milky Way, Shvil HaChalav. You look at the 9 stars of the Milky Way, it's a shape of a banana, like an arch. All the stars are in line, like a banana, except one. One star, it's like a hand picked him up from his truck and put him on the side, in a place that's the only place from the endless Earth, endless universe, which is trillions of times bigger than the ocean. The ocean is nothing compared to space. The space is endless. The sun is standing in a place. The Earth could have been only where it is. Every other place the Earth would be, we either freeze in a second or we get burned in a second. There is only one place in the entire universe that the Earth could have been. It's where it is. But it was supposed to be in the Milky Way. If it would be there, we would be already a long time far away from here. It could only be there. And there are stupid people, believe it or not, they still stand in universities and get credit for their nonsense by saying this entire universe is a Big Bang, a random explosion that created everything. Who can buy this nonsense? You don't see that there's a brilliant plan here? What coincidence can create such thing? I just ask you about the dime in a world that is only 72% of these tiny stars that we live in. But space, I told you, is trillions of trillions of trillions of times bigger than the ocean. Who would be able to put this tiny ball exactly in the only place it could be in relation to the sun? Everywhere else, we would dry, we could get burned, or we freeze in a minute. Something like this can happen by itself? Of course not. Everything a person needs for his life, he was prepared for him. First, he needs oxygen. Did you ever go to a place that there's no oxygen? Imagine sometimes the oxygen company go on a strike. I don't know, you go to Zimbabwe, over there today, no oxygen. No oxygen. What would happen? Imagine if there's one time in the history of this world that there was a shortage of oxygen even for 5 minutes somewhere in the world. What would happen to us? We would have to live our entire life with 2 big balloons on our back, just that another shortage would happen one day. We couldn't take the risk. If it happens once already, it may happen tomorrow here. Every minute of your life, you go, how are you, Moshe? My back hurts. 2 big balloons of oxygen, ready for the moment that when maybe another shortage would happen. What's the next thing we need? Water. Everywhere you go, water is for free. Everywhere you go. What's the third thing you need? Food. You can live with $1 a day. $1 a day. You buy rye bread for $2. A whole week you can survive. How much a rye bread costs? $2, $3, whatever it is. You survive a week with that. If somebody lock you in a closet and you have a loaf of rye bread, it will keep you going for a week. So for $2 you can survive. Water is for free. Water is $2 for the whole week. So if a person is very poor, $2 or $3 a week, he can survive. And if he doesn't have $3, I promise you, if he goes to a place and asks for 2 slices of bread, everyone will give it to him. Here, enjoy. So food will not kill us. What's the third thing a person needs? A place to sleep. You can't afford Fifth Avenue, you move to Queens. You can't afford Queens, you move to Arizona. You can't afford Arizona, you move to Zimbabwe. But you can live somewhere. Depend on your pocket, but you have a place to sleep. Why people have struggle all the time? Because they have big eyes. They want mansions, they want big cars, diamonds, watches, this, clothing. That puts us in debt. But really what we need to survive, everything we have almost for free. Almost everything for free. The world has a brilliant order. Let me give you another proof. And then maybe I'll give you some time for questions. Any questions you want. Now it's the time to ask. One more proof. A Jew is allowed to eat everything that is kosher from the water. How do you know which fish is kosher, which fish is not kosher? We know more than 40,000 different kinds of fish. We're going to start memorize which one is kosher, which one is not. You just go to Costco alone, you have like 10 different kinds. You don't know. You're not sure. Kosher, not kosher. You don't know. Imagine you have 40,000 different fish in a refrigerator. How would you know which one is kosher, which one is not? Now on top of it, you have all the seafood, all the snakes, all the things that, the Chinese eat, all the other things. So it's very difficult to know from the ocean which things. That reminds me of a good joke. Why God didn't make Adam and Eve Chinese? He was afraid they'll eat the snake. They'll ruin the story of the Torah right away. Adam, what did you do? I'm eating lunch. Oh, you ate the Yetzer Hara, the snake. You go to Chinatown, you see how they eat the snakes and the cats. They put cats in the window. Some Jews say to me, Rabbi, I don't eat not kosher. What do you mean? I just saw you coming from the non-kosher Chinese restaurant. Yeah, I eat only chicken. He said, I only eat chicken. I say, you fool, the chicken you just ate was cooked in an oil that an hour ago they just cooked their lunch, which was a cat with some rats in it. They just cooked in the same pot. What do you think? Where they cook their cats? The Thailandi came to Israel, all the dogs disappeared. In 1 year, all the dogs were used to be here, dogs, cats. Everything disappeared. Anyway, here is the proof. Listen good. So God said to the Jews, everything needs a witness, two witnesses. Two witnesses. This is the formula in life. Two witnesses can prove that the thing is real. So he says, everything that lives in the oceans, if it has fins and scales, it's kosher. If it doesn't have fins and scales, it's not kosher. So now you found a snake in the water, swimming in the water. It's kosher? It's not kosher. It has smooth body, and it doesn't have fins. It's not kosher. You found a swordfish. It's kosher? It's not kosher. It doesn't have scales. Only things like salmon, you scratch it, scales are falling off. You scratch it, you see the scales are looking like round circles, they start to fall. And then it has fins, it's kosher. Oh, very good. Now we go into the Oral Torah. The Oral Torah says like this. Everything in the oceans that have scales, for sure, have fins, guaranteed. How do I know? I created them. That's it. One sentence in the Oral Torah. Since the Torah was given 3,300 years, nobody ever found something in the ocean that have scales but did not have fins. If somebody will find anything in the ocean, like a snake in the ocean, it doesn't have fins, but it has scales like the salmon that you scratch and they fall off from the snake. So it has scales and it doesn't have fins. It will be the end of Judaism. Why? It will be the first mistake in the Torah. The Torah say, I created that, the oceans. 72% of the world is water. 12-kilometer depth, which is about 8 miles. This is how far they reach. It's much, much, much deeper, but the pressure is tremendous. They cannot go. There's very, very strong pressure. So, there are millions of different species living in the oceans. Only more than 40,000 different kind of fish. But you have thousands of different snakes, thousands of different turtles, scorpions, all kinds of different things. Millions of different names inside the ocean alone. We didn't even find all of them. Some of them live very deep, whatever. The Torah took a huge risk. For those who try to claim that the Torah was written by a person, think again. The writer of the Torah took an incredible risk that would not last even 1 year. There's no chance to be right, no chance. Why? He wrote in the Torah, no one will ever find in all this water something that have fins and did not have, something that have scales and did not have fins. Which means if somebody will find, no more Shema Israel, no more Tefillin, no more Yom Kippur, no more Shabbat, no more anything. It's all gone. Why? First mistake in the divine book. It's not divine. If God would show me he can make mistakes, how can I trust him anymore? Maybe Shabbat is the second mistake. Maybe Tefillin is the second mistake. Maybe you should not marry Christine is the second mistake. Could be a lot of mistakes. Maybe he wanted to say you should marry Christine by mistake. You should not. Somebody push you not inside. Some prejudiced guy. How do we know? If we see one mistake, then we know that there's other mistakes possible. But in a divine book, you cannot have mistakes. The creator of the world don't make mistakes. And the Torah, until today, was right 1,000,000%. Nobody ever found such a thing with scales without fins. The Torah says, you're allowed to eat kosher food. What's kosher? How many different kinds of animals we have in the world? Do you know? How many names? We know by names. How many? How many names? If somebody comes and say to you, name all the animals that exist on earth, how many names you would have? You start now. Dog, cat, cow, chimpanzee. You go, you count all of them. Whatever. No, how many names? More than 2 million names. More than 2 million species are registered by the, what's their name? Zoologists? Zoologian, whatever. More than 2 million names. More than 2 million names. The Torah said to the Jews, only few of them are kosher. Only few. Every animal that chews cud and have split hoofs in the legs, it's kosher. 2 signs, like the fish. Fins and scales by the fish, chew his cud, ma'ale gera, and have split hoofs in the legs. That's the 2 signs that the animal needs to be kosher. But the Torah made another comment. The Torah say, but there are 4 animals that are exception to the rule. Make no mistake, they can fool you. They have only 1 sign of kashrut. All the animals in the world either don't have any sign of kashrut or have 2. Except 4 animals that they have only 1 sign of kashrut. They are not kosher because they don't have 2 witnesses, only 1. But you may get confused when you see they chew their cud or they have split hooves. You may think that they're kosher. So I'm warning you. Those 4 are not kosher. Who are they? The camel, the pig, the rabbit, and the hare. Which look, hare, it looks like a rabbit, almost the same. Shafan and Arnevet in Hebrew. From 2 million different animals, how many exceptionals the Torah named? 4 only. Do you know what it means? That this is something that only the creators of the world and all the animals was able to write. No person was able to write. First, do you know any person who can memorize 2 million different kinds of animals and know all of them from A to Z? There's no person like this. Second, do you know a person that can watch the entire world simultaneously and can tell you what the world has, what the world doesn't have? To watch the entire earth with 2 eyes? How? Even give him anything you want, telescope, microscope, whatever you want. He won't be able to tell you what's in the world because they're always moving. The birds, these animals, zebras, they move from one place to the other. Where are you going to know? There's no way to know, especially with all these jungles in Brazil, Africa. There's no way to know. The Torah told you there are only 4 exceptions to the rule. Which means if somebody today will bring another animal that they found somewhere, and it chew his cud or have split hooves, one of the two, there will be chas v'shalom the end of Judaism. Why? God said there are only 4. Here we found 5. Now it's 5. You say there's only 4. I'm showing you another one. Just a week ago, somebody sent me, I found one! And I was laughing to myself. And I said, which one you found? He said, the kangaroo. The kangaroo, he says. Kangaroo chew his cud and doesn't have split hooves. I started to learn the subject. And I saw that someone who was claiming many years ago in the 60s that kangaroo chew his cud. Then I made a real research by the expert of Australian expert in Australia, and they say it's a common mistake to think that the kangaroo chew his cud, but it actually doesn't, and they have a whole big article that shows where the mistakes come from. And I forwarded to this guy. 5 minutes later, he called me back. This is the guy I put him in yeshiva. So he said to me, I think I just got my ticket out of yeshiva. I said, why? He said, I'm going back to Manhattan next week. I said, why? He said, I found out that the kangaroo chew his cud. So after 10 minutes, he said, okay, I guess I have to stay in yeshiva. So I asked him, tell me the truth. Horvitz is his name. Horvitz, tell me the truth. Would you leave the yeshiva? I say, you're crazy. I'm addicted to the Torah. How can I leave the yeshiva? I just wanted to pinch you a little bit. So I said, not that fast. It's not me, it's the Torah. 2 million different animals, 4 exception. A person was able to ride it, or only the creator of the world was able to ride it? There's many, many thousands of examples. But people, like I said today in the drasha in the morning when we spoke, or in the afternoon actually, in Suda Shlishit, they choose what they want to see. They don't want to see the truth. So every time you show them the truth, they'll find another excuse. The idea is not to find excuses, it's to check for the truth. And if the Torah is divine, I have to live according to the Torah. Torah means in Hebrew instructions. Instructions. Orah. Torah comes from Orah. Just before we finish, because I see the food is arriving, and now I know you won't be able to focus anymore. So, I just want to finish with one thing. God put us here in this world and we have X amount of years. 20, 30, 40, 70, 80, whatever it is. Once it will be over, the real life will begin. I brought with me 3 different kinds of CDs. If you need more, I'm more than happy to ship more. I brought here, courtesy of some good people from this community who sponsored it. I brought here a CD, audio CD about Shabbat, 80 minutes lecture, an hour and 20 minutes that explain the importance of Shabbat. Once you hear this lecture carefully, I promise you, you won't be able to stay Mechalel Shabbat ever again. And if you are, there's no point of talking to you ever again. You know you did the maximum. This person, if he has such a heart, he can ignore what the Torah say, what God say, there's nothing else I can do. The other one is the laws of modesty and family purity, which is mainly for women, but also very important for men to listen. That's another audio lecture. They told me that you don't have MP3s here. On the MP3 I put 30 hours of lecture on each CD. Over here it's only an hour and 20 minutes, because we cannot have more on a regular CD. But better a little bit than nothing. The rest you can go into my website. If you have an iPhone, you can download all the lectures for free. The website was made for people to learn as much as Torah for free. Everything is for free there. If you want to order CDs, $1 cost price, whatever it costs to make, you can order as many as you want. Each CD has 30 hours of lecture, between 15 to 18 lectures on each one. Then I have few DVDs. One of them I brought here tonight. It's called Life After Death. It's a new film I just made, less than a month ago, in English, and I made one in Hebrew. You have the English version here. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Solid, scientific proof that life really begins in the moment of death. Not like some people think, I'll die and I'll become sand and that's the end of life. That's why I might as well be successful. Time is running out. Baloney. The real life begins after we finish the test here, which is 60, 70, 80 years. Then God will decide where to put us for eternity. In a good place or in a horrible place. He will decide it based on our choices. We will decide where we go with our choices. There is really no punishments by God. We bring it to ourselves. There's really no reward. The word reward and punishments are tricky words. They're not really correct. This is not reward and punishment. This is reality. I say to you, you eat the poison, you get sick. Don't eat it. You want to eat it, you became sick. Is that a punishment? It's not a punishment. The Torah says 12 times, Mechalel Shabbat has no share to the world to come. Doesn't deserve to live. He's not Jewish for me. I'm cutting him out of my nation for eternity. Be careful not to violate Shabbat. Don't dare to violate Shabbat. If you violate Shabbat, you're not my son anymore, God said. 12 times. And then a person drives on Shabbat and have, God forbid, an accident and become paralyzed. And he say, why God is so cruel? He punished me like this. So he said to him, why he punished you? How many times you heard you're not allowed to violate Shabbat? Now when you're starting to pay the price, you're crying? There were so many signs. Do not enter. Do not enter. Dangerous, explosive material. Don't come in. But you insist to go in anyway, and now you're paying the price. The Torah says a Jew cannot be married to a non-Jew. It doesn't matter. The most righteous Gentile in a history and the worst Jew in a history, the Jew is not allowed to marry them. God said, you are my children. I chose you from all the nations. I separated you from all the nations. You have no permission to get married to any one of the nations. Even the righteous nations. Even the lovers of Israel. You're not allowed. There is no marriage between a Jew and a non-Jew. This marriage does not go into effect in heaven. I don't recognize this marriage. The statistics show that more than 90% of these marriages ended up very, very bitter. Very bitter, with arguments, custody problem. After that, the Christian girl takes the kids to the church and it drives the Jewish guy crazy. All kinds of things that happen. Check the statistic. But even the few percent that supposedly get along together, they didn't even start their punishments yet. Only when they come in front of God, they're going to realize the tragedy that they created for themselves, they go crazy. I had the debate with the priest, and then one person from Florida, Israeli guy, Cohen, called me up. He said, Rabbi, you destroyed my life. I said, why, what happened? I'm already used to it. I said, I'm just curious how exactly I destroyed his life. Speaking about Shabbat, speaking about intermarriage, which part of the lecture destroyed his life? Instead of saying, Rabbi, I just discovered that I destroyed my life. So he said to the doctor, Doctor, you destroyed my life by telling me what I have wrong. So I said to him, what happened? He said, listen, I'm married to a girl, Italian, Sicilian. She watched the debate with me, and then we watched a Torah and science film, and now she doesn't want to be with me anymore. I said to him, why? She said to me, listen, I'm a Goya, and you're a Jew. I cannot be with you. I don't want to get God angry. The Goya say to him, I don't want to get God angry. God say that you're not allowed to be with me. I want to do what God says, she said to him, the Goya. So he said to her, oh, at least you have a smart girl there. Why don't you listen to her? Come to Monsi to yeshiva. He said, no, if I come to Monsi, my boss will fire me. I can't take off so much. So that was the end of the story. 2 years later, listen good. 2 years, and already had a kid. Now what's the problem? If she converts, she can still not be married to him, because a Kohen cannot marry a convert. If it was another case, which is not a Kohen, if she converts, they stay married. They just get remarried. We have it all the time. When we convert a Goya that married to a Jew because she wants really to be religious, then we get them remarried because the marriage wasn't in effect. But over here, we're not allowed to marry a Kohen to a convert. So there's really no solution. So she started to investigate why she loved God and the Torah and the Jewish people so much. And then she found out that her grandparents from Sicily were Jews. And she proved it to the Beit Din Agadol, the most important Beit Din in the world in Jerusalem. And they investigated and they gave her a certificate that she doesn't need to convert, she's an original Jew. Wow. That's the story. At least there was a happy end from this phone call. And you should see how orthodox they are. Besides, in general, all the converts that I converted, sent them to conversion, all of them became more than religious than all of us here. They gave up money, their business, their location, their family, sometimes even their wife and their children. And they came to learn Torah and they left everything. And we have everything and we complain, should I keep Shabbat? What am I going to do? I want to go to the club. It's nuts. Total craziness. So Be'ezrat Hashem, if anyone here until now wasn't Shomer Shabbat and wants to accept Shabbat, come shake my hand, I give him the bracha from the bottom of my heart. He'll be successful in all his life. Someone that doesn't keep Shabbat, he comes right now, will make a Kiddush Hashem. Many thousands of people will see it. That now he accepts Be'ezrat Hashem never to be Mechalel Shabbat. This is before you listen to the CD. After you listen to the CD, you run to me to New York with your feet. But now, before you heard it, because the Torah says, remember, Mechalel Shabbat, areu kegoy lechol davar. God say it. Someone who doesn't keep my covenant. It's a covenant between me and the nation of Israel. We do Kiddush. We don't listen to what we say. What do we say in the Kiddush? We read a part from the Torah. What do we say? And the nation of Israel observed the Sabbath to make the Sabbath an eternal covenant between me and the nation of Israel. It's a sign for eternity that I created the world in 6 days, and in the 7th day I rested. Someone who does not keep my Shabbat should be put to death by stoning, and I will cut his soul in the afterlife for eternity from my nation. This is a verse in the Torah. This is what we say in Kiddush. We don't say the part of the killing and the soul in Shabbat, so we cut it out. But go to the Torah and read it. Is it true? That's what it says in the Torah or no? 12 times, not once. If God repeated it 12 times, more than anything else, it's bothering him very much that the Jew is Mechalel Shabbat. That's why he cut him from life of eternity. Do you know how much a person loses if he doesn't have a share to the world to come? Let me give you an example that you understand what you're about to lose, Chas v'Shalom. That you're not going to make that mistake, I hope. This is what it says. If you take all the reward and all the pleasure of all the people of the entire world, from the day God created the world until the last day here, until everything will be finished, all the billions of people combined, everyone, Jews, non-Jews, male, female, everyone together, all their money, sports, women, food, vacation, hobbies, anything you can think of, all the pleasure of all the people combined will not be equal to 1 hour of the pleasure of the soul of a righteous Jew in the afterlife, in Olam Haba. When the soul comes out of the body, the first hour in Olam Haba, it's already better than all the pleasure you can dream of all the people, billions of people combined, will not be equal to 1 hour. Where does it say it in the Torah? Where does it say it in the Torah? יפה שעה אחת של קורת רוח בעולם הבא מכל חיי העולם הזה. 1 hour of pleasure in the afterlife is greater than the entire earth combined. You understand what you're about to lose, Chas v'Shalom? And why a person would lose it? For driving to the mall to buy sneakers. Driving to the beach. Drive to the beach on Sunday. Why on Shabbat? For going out to the club. You want to go to the club? I cry for you. Do it Motzei Shabbat. Why are you doing it on Friday night? Everything has a solution. Rabbi, shopping. Do shopping on Sunday. Rabbi, my family, visit them on Sunday. Or don't visit them at all. It doesn't pay to visit them and lose eternity for them. Rabbi, my cousin, I didn't see him 3 years, I have to drive, he has a birthday. Who cares? That's the reason to lose your eternity? Rabbi, my wife drives me crazy. She likes that we go to the pizza shop on Shabbat. Take her on Sunday. Reach a solution. Reach a solution. I'm telling you, before Chas v'Shalom, you miss the train. We are in a very critical days. The Mashiach can come any minute. The world is boiling. Any minute something can happen. Israel will attack in Iran. The next thing you're going to hear, millions of people are going to the who knows where. And then Mashiach would come, and that's it. No more Baalei Tshuva. No more, okay, Rabbi, come on, I want to keep Shabbat. No. Too late. No more converts, no more Baalei Tshuva. Because there's not going to be free choice anymore. Everyone would see. Bayom Hahu yeh Hashem echad u'shmo echad. That's it. Now you decide to become religious after you see? En mekablim gerim b'imot Mashiach. Why? Well, the whole world would stand online to be converts. What's the question? They see the Mashiach is Jewish and he comes and the Jew finally is going to build the third Bet HaMikdash and the great days will come. There will be the resurrection of the dead like all the prophecies. Who wouldn't want? The idea is now when you have a balance 50-50. Your desires and Hashem on the other side. Who do you want to go with? You want to go with Christine or you want to go with the creator of the world? You want to go with stealing or you want to go with the creator of the world? You want to go with your stupidity or you want to go with the creator of the world? This is the decision right now. No, we have at least one guy or no?
Come on, go.
Who's the Christine?
A Christian girl.
Christine is a girl from Bet Yaakov Yeshiva.
A convert.
In case you didn't know.
Questions, no questions.
How do you convince those people, let's say I have a daughter, she's married and not religious. How do you convince them to be, not to go shopping, not to go eat pizza on Shabbat?
That's why we brought CDs about Shabbat. You give her the CD to listen to. Believe me, I have goyim who listen to this tape. Not one, not two, not 100, not 200. Hundreds of goyim that listen to the lecture about Shabbat, and today they are keeping Shabbat. I tell them, you're not allowed to keep Shabbat. They say, we can't. We have to. I said, but the goy is not allowed to keep Shabbat. It's only for the Jewish nation. Turn the light at least one time, I say to them. Don't keep it fully. So one of them wrote to me, you know, when I turn the light, my heart is burning. The goy. The goyim keep Shabbat. You don't believe me? I show you right now here emails from them. They keep Shabbat. They say, just give me the okay. I move to New York. I leave my wife, the business, the house, everything. I learn Torah. I pay whatever you want.
Convert.
You know? Yes, the goyim. They want to keep everything. They're begging to keep. They beg to keep. I say, no, you can stay, go and keep the 7 laws.
The grass on the other side is always
They don't
green.
want.
We
I
have
say,
a grass,
keep the
we don't
7
think it's
laws,
green.
stay a goy, and you be a righteous goy. You have a share to the world to come. They say it's not the real thing. Why should I settle on that if I know God wants this? You understand? And you are Jewish and you, no. Wow, I don't understand. What's the problem?
My boss gonna fire
Give me one reason now why not to keep Shabbat. You cutting hair on Shabbat in a barber shop?
No more. Yeah, no more. They want to get up.
Yalla, no, come. You don't understand. Thousands of people.
Should I record? Yeah. הרב, יש ציציות? וואו.
One by one.
אדי, רגע.
יעקב יברך את נתן בן אריאל, נתן בן ארי, בעבור שעשה קידוש השם גדול, קדש שם שמיים ברבים, ולקבל על עצמו שמירת שבת, הקדוש ברוך הוא יברך אותו בכל הברכות האמורות בתורה. יזכה לאריכות ימים, פרנסה, ללמוד הרבה תורה, להקים בית נאמן בישראל. יהיה מאושר, בריא, שלם, כל חייו יהיו בטוב ובנעימים, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.
חזק וברוך. כל הכבוד.
אברהם יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את עמנואל בן אפרים, בעבור שזכה לקדש שם שמיים ברבים ולקבל על עצמו שמירת שבת, יזכה לחזור בתשובה שלמה, יזכה לאריכות ימים, לחיים טובים ומאושרים, פרנסה בשפע, אישה כשרה להקים בית נאמן בישראל, יזכה לכל הברכות האמורות בתורה, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. ברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את אילן בן ידידיה, בעבור שקיבל על עצמו שמירת שבת, יזכה לקדש שם שמיים ברבים, יזכה לחזור בתשובה שלמה, יהיה לו חיים טובים מאושרים, פרנסה בשפע, אריכות ימים, יזכה להקים בית נאמן בישראל, ללמוד הרבה תורה, יצליח בכל מעשיו עם כל ישראל אחד, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את אפרים בן נקדם, בעבור שזכה לקדש שם שמיים ברבים, בזכות שקיבל על עצמו שמירת שבת, הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמרהו ויחייהו, ישלח לו חיים טובים מאושרים, פרנסה בשפע, יזכה להקים בית נאמן בישראל, אישה כשרה, יזכה ללמוד הרבה תורה, לעשות נחת רוח לקדוש ברוך הוא, כולנו נזכה לראות פני משיח במהרה, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר
אמן. Giving a hug to Rabbi Mizrachi is
אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את יונה בן אריאל, בעבור שזכה לקדש שם שמיים ברבים, לקבל על עצמו שמירת שבת, יזכה לחזור בתשובה שלמה, יזכה להקים בית נאמן בישראל, פרנסה בשפע, יזכה ללמוד הרבה תורה, אריכות ימים, יזכה לעשות נחת רוח לקדוש ברוך הוא, יצליח בכל מעשי ידיו, יתברך בכל הברכות האמורות בתורה, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. אברהם יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את מרקיאל בן ארי, בעבור שזכה לקדש שם שמיים ברבים, קיבל על עצמו שמירת שבת, יזכה לחזור בתשובה שלמה, יזכה להצלחה בכל מעשי ידיו, פרנסה בשפע, להקים בית נאמן בישראל, יזכה להאריך ימים, בריאות, עושר ועושר, בטוב ובנעימים, יזכה לראות פני משיח יחד עם כולנו ולהתברך בכל הברכות האמורות בתורה, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.
כל הכבוד.
Already you invited the house of the rabbi.
Next week, Hanukkah, вы будете у меня шаббат.
Very good. After such a happy end to the weekend. Okay, now, what? The girls are all rabbit sensing. Now, you know, one guy, Chas v'shalom, one guy had an accident. He went to the hospital for 1 week. And after 1 week, he came out and he decided to make a meal in a shul for all the people. So he brought fish, this, food. So everyone eats and enjoys. So why you make a meal? He say, I had an accident. The doctors didn't give me a lot of a chance. And I came out perfectly fine. And I'm making Seudat Odaya. I thank Hashem. So everyone say, oh, Chazak u'Baruch, very nice. The next day, another guy from the shul, he make a meal. He brought fish, this, bagels. So they say to him, why, you also had an accident? He said, no. He said, 20 years I crossed the street like this guy from yesterday crossed. 20 years I crossed the street, no car hit me. Why should I wait until a car hit me and then I say thank you to Hashem? I want to thank Hashem before it happens. That's a smart person. Thank you very much to Angela. Thank you Rabbi Baruch. Thank you Michael. Thank you Jonathan. Thank you all the other people.
see you again soon.
חזק
שבוע
וברוך.
טוב.